So I'm saying like a lot of people have, questions around like getting more niche. Sometimes it's hard to do that kind of thing. So anything that's sort of on your mind related to that, or even maybe it's about like, how do I express my brand? Like I kind of know some of the elements of my brand. I feel pretty strong about that, but I'm not really clear on how I get myself out there and really show up that way. So go ahead and do that right now. And then as people come in, I'm going to give them just a little bit of time. It is only, you guys are early birds, which is awesome. I can't tell. Is it 2:03 or is it 2 o'clock?
Yeah, I have 2:03. Yeah.
2:03. Okay. Cause my computer is like behind. I'm going to have to change that time because I keep thinking maybe that's why I've been late to a few of these things.
Yeah, really, you got to put it ahead, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get started. If people pop in, I'll just pause briefly to welcome them. But let's see, what do we got? Oh, we got Suzanne. Yay, Suzanne's coming in. Here she comes. Awesome, awesome. And if you guys don't want to put in the chat, you can just tell me. That's fine too. Hi,
Well,
Suzanne.
if everybody shows up, should we just say them or?
I think just okay. Okay. So Suzanne's got that on there. Let's start with Suzanne, and then Ruth. You can
Okay.
always type in if you want. Okay, insights into creating attractive packages and how to brand the value of working with me on their client attraction goals. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions about that. Suzanne, what we're doing here is we're putting in the chat kind of any questions that we have related to our brand, and that could be like it could be just like the brand foundational elements, like things that maybe aren't making sense to you, or if you even want to know what that is. I know you're pretty good on that. Or it could also be, I'm admitting Tina Anderson here. It could also be the anything related to expression of your brand. Hi, Tina. Expression of your brand, like any kind of questions like that. And it could even be like, hey, photos, like that sort of thing. So what we're doing right now is just popping in the chat the questions that we have today. So we're going to try to get to everyone's questions within the hour that we have. Okay. So Susan, you're first there. And so insights into creating attractive packages. What I want you to do first
Yeah,
is
that's why I decided to,
hello.
hack the system.
I,
She
I'm
got
gonna
muted by
I'm
mistake.
gonna mute her. Okay, so talk to me about who it is that you want to attract the most. And I'm not talking about general. I want to see like as specific as you can tell me.
So I would like to work with coaches in particular, right, who are transformation creators in the past and going forward. I seem to attract and enjoy working with people like energy healers, light workers who are right creating a journey for their own people. And I want to be able to support them. Like a lot of them, and I don't know if this is a question for you. I know you and I spoke with this morning about it, and you're like, well, maybe this is something we talk about. There's so many things to do in the digital marketing world that it seems overwhelming. And sometimes they just say, you know what, I'm just going to manifest. Like they're just going to they're just trying to manifest their success, but I have the roadmap for them. And I know Suzanne and I are working on some clarity too, but how to, in that big wide world of chaos that, what seems to be chaos in digital marketing, how do I bring it together? How do I explain what it is that I do and then wrap it up with a bow?
Well, so thinking about somebody who is a energy worker, light worker, like you said, healer, right? They're a healer type.
Yeah.
Okay. So if anybody like that, what do they really want? Like they have a business, clearly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they have a business, but then what do they really want? Hi, David. What do they really want?
They want to work with people to create the transformation. They need to first, so usually when they work with me, I think that the first thing they need to do is get people on a call with them at some point, right? Like they'll, help them create lead generators or nurture sequences in their emails or content to get them found. But usually people don't hire a coach until they've had some kind of experience with them, either on a call or maybe a free, like what we're doing with you, right? Coming to your free event, like you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. And so but what they really want is they don't want to deal with bringing in leads themselves, right? Like I mean, they can go out and they can network and they can do the things, but are these people kind of like, I don't want to do, like, I feel weird about reaching out to people or whatever. Like, you're setting something up for them that's going to be somewhat automated, right? So we have to get at, like, what's the pain point, why they want that?
Mhm.
What's
Why,
the
why they
problem?
want it automated, right? Because it's sucking their energy. It's sucking their energy away
Ooh,
from,
they're energy workers and it's sucking their energy.
that's right. That's right. And they're
Man, you gotta
feeling right
use
and they're
that.
getting like all worked up in the chaos, and then they're not able to go do the things they want to do. They want to go hold workshops. They want to fill their workshops.
Yeah, they don't want to do this other work. So why not be focusing in on all of those things? Like I would, for you, spend some time getting real with what are all of the pain points that you're just like, think about your clients, people you've worked with that you love. What do they come to you with? Like, what was all of their frustrations and like, I don't really want to do this thing. Like I actually spent a whole day yesterday working on my business with someone else, and she pulled that out of me. She said, well, what do you hate doing? And I was like, well, I don't like doing direct, like I don't like doing cold outreach to people because that just doesn't feel natural to me. And now I may have to start doing some of that. So guess what? That's something someone else is going to do for me. I'd rather get on things like this and just talk to people. That's 100% me. So same thing for you and same thing for them. So what do they feel natural doing? Right. So you want to kind of get both of those things so that you can take them, the from and the to. They're here now. I'm going to transform you here.
Yes. Thank you for that. And then, so then I think it's, and maybe this, right? Like I know Suzanne and I are going to talk about this too. Hey, Suzanne. Hi, David. It's the simplifying it, right? I can talk all day long, time, energy, currency, chaos, confusion. It's here's how to work with me, right? So it's like, it's branding, I guess, tying it up with a bow and saying, we can do this, or we can do that.
So you have more than one way of working with people.
Yes.
Right. So,
and everybody is different, and I meet them where they are.
Exactly. And so I don't think that you want to muddy the waters around all the various options, because guess what? Somebody comes to the site, to your site or however you have this set up, and they're going, let's see, I could get that. I could get this. I could get that. I don't even really know what I want.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what I don't know. All I know is I don't want to do this stuff myself. And I just really want someone to come generate leads for me. So making that part of it, to me, would be like, make it so simple for them to get on a call with you. So they're not having to make a decision. I'll tell you why. Like, so for me, this comes from my own thought process around how I'm going to be recreating my website. I did photography for the longest time. I migrated into also doing the brand strategy because it was a natural progression for me. It organically occurred. But if I ask anybody, like you guys are all here, right? Because you were interested in like, what the hell is she talking about? Ask me anything about brand. Okay, I'll come and see what she's talking about. Well, if I had said to you, you get to you have to choose between getting photos or or getting into my brand coaching program, wouldn't you just look at that and go, I don't know. So I'm not even going to bother. So I think I think it's going to be the same thing with your clients. If you offer all these things, I don't think you need to tell them what they like. You don't need to tell them pick these things. You need to tell them, I can help you in this more, and I don't want to say generic way. I'm saying, I'm going to take this away from you. So whatever that package is, let's just talk first so I can help you figure out what that is for you, because it's all going to depend on a lot of factors. It's the same thing with my clients. It all depends on where they are in their brand journey and what they really need right now in their business. And you could probably, I'm sure with the way that you operate, you probably have several different ways that you could package things specific ways for people. And I'm not asking you to do custom either. What I'm saying is, you have like, there's this kind of thing that's sort of a package. There's this kind of thing that's a package. And you can say, hey, you might need both. So then both packages get put together. Or you can say, I can take a component out of this package and put it over here because I know that person's going to need it. And that's no sweat off my back. Am I mixing my metaphors? Something like that. There's no like, it's easy to do because I can just easily pull that thing out and put it as part of this. I mean, is that helpful? Am I answering the question you really want?
It was helpful. I still have some things to work out, but I like the idea of like taking, I'm not going to talk. Yes, it was helpful and I appreciate it. I want to make sure that you have time for other people as well.
Okay. So
yes, exactly. Done for you, done with you, done.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yes. And we don't know where they are with that unless we're on a call with them. The DIY stuff, you can obviously automate that more, right? Like, cause you can sales funnel that, or you can sales funnel that. And then you can also say, hey, I don't think after you get on a call with them, I don't think you're quite ready for this, or maybe they have like money objections or something. And you're just like, this isn't an ideal client for me anyway. You can say, oh, but okay, so I get it. You're not ready for that, but here's your DIY. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you. Awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks. Absolutely. Okay. So Ruth came on second. So I'm going to ask Ruth. So what questions do you have, Ruth?
About marketing.
Marketing, brand, anything, expression, brand, photos, any of it. Yeah.
I don't even know what questions I have, to tell you the truth. I've been writing a book and I just finished the book. And it's a very inward stroke writing a book. So now I'm starting to think, okay, I have to get into the outward stroke and I haven't quite figured out. It's a book on democracy. And I think there's like I want people to read it, obviously. I'm interested in more civic engagement, particular kind of civic engagement, but I'm also interested in thought leaders getting interested in these ideas that I'm promoting. So it's like levels of marketing, I guess.
It is, but let me ask you this question because I've been on your website because I was talking to Nancy and that's how I
got
connected, right? So
good. Okay.
Yeah. So I was looking at that and so the first thing I saw was that, and do you mind if I don't mean to call you out, but it's very pertinent.
Okay, fine. No, that's
right. So I know you guys are working on your website. So you have this tagline that, and I don't remember the exact words, but when I read it, what it instantly came to mind was you want academics to be reading this book. Am I right? Am I wrong?
Well, I think I was hoping, that's a good question. I'm sure academics will read it and maybe it's a more maybe more highbrow book than your usual public book, I would say. But I think it's for activists who want to know this stuff as well.
All right. So it's not really for academics then. That's not the ultimate purpose.
Right.
You're trying to create a movement. Am I right?
Yeah. Or yes, kind of.
Kind of.
I mean, I think there's pieces of this stuff out there, but it's trying to bring it to a larger level, I guess.
So like a wider audience.
Yeah. And a deeper level too. I mean, I think a lot of the reforms that people are suggesting are good, but we need something it's a much more urgent situation. We need something much deeper.
Okay. So for you, I think, so if it's for a wider audience, then I think a few things, and I did get that you are, the point of this is we got to start talking. Right. We've got to be communicating with each other. You put your, can you want to drop anything in the chat to because have you launched the book or are you getting ready to?
No, the title of it is Igniting a Bold New Democracy, Empowering Citizens. Oh God, I'm blanking on the ending. Empowering citizens, to create deep reforms or something like that.
Okay. So, but when does the book launch?
February.
In February. Okay. So if you have anything you want to share, you can drop that in the chat. I don't know if you have a launch team or you want people just to get on your email list or whatever.
Oh yeah, they can get on my email list. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and put that in chat. So while you're doing that, I want to just speak through that because I'm thinking if the idea is that it's communication based, right? So you're trying to get people to interact with each other and stop the fighting and the nastiness that we're seeing in the world right now, then I see that it has to be human. So specifically when I was looking at your site, I was thinking to myself, the imagery and the words need to be more personal and need to show people interacting. And that's you too, like you interacting with people in a way that shows that you are like leaning in, listening, active listening, things like that, and that you are relatable and approachable. These were things that I instantly saw that if that's the book, then the imagery and the tone and the actual jargon and words that you're using need to be approachable and a little bit more widely, what's the word I'm looking for? Like acceptable, like people can easily see those, see what you're writing there and feel like it's for them. Ultimately, what's your goal?
I'd like to do those things that I describe in the book, or to have someone do them. And some of the things are things like having a citizens national convention, where
A
citizens
citizen.
just
Interesting.
citizens get together and create a new vision of what they want in their state, you know, starting on a grassroots level, and start talking about, here's our goals, and start with our goals instead of being narrowly, you know, put into one of these camps that are, you know, problematic in different ways.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm obviously I'm a visual person, so images pop in my head, but it's kind of like a new constitution or, you know, I don't know, not for the whole country, I suppose, but like, you know what I mean? Like that
Well,
idea.
eventually we have to modernize the Constitution for the whole country, I think, too. But, you know, but I think it's good to start with something that seems small and doable, like a state might be easier
Mhm.
place to start, because that's where we usually start, is we start a reform and then it kind of skyrockets to different parts of the, you know, country and stuff. And,
I
but
love it.
just the idea of citizens feeling more empowered, really, like
Yeah.
getting them back in charge, you know. And,
Yeah. So then the empowerment side of it too, like pulling that into all of this. I feel like you're, especially with writers and authors, man, we're that's the same thing with authors. I guess maybe it's not. Sometimes author means the book, right? But we're all writers. So anyway, maybe that's the distinction. But what I would say in that case is when you have a book and you are like drawing, you know, from that book, the things that you really want to see happen in the world. Well, those concepts and like those concepts can create imagery for you. They can create copy for you. Like that's all like pull from the book as much as you can to get those messages out. So if it is empowerment, like what does empowerment look like and how can you speak about it? How can you make the person that actually comes to your website really want to buy that book because they see that, wow, if I read this, I'm going to feel empowered. I'm going to have some great ideas that I can actually make some change happen in my local area, for example. That those kinds of concepts need to come out, I think. So when you talk about marketing, you said to me that, oh, you think the academics, there's various layers of marketing. We do this all the time to ourselves and we make ourselves crazy because we try to go to like 2 or 3 different avatars, and even 2 avatars is hard to do, most particularly if you don't have a team. And I speak from experience. I'm dealing with this right now, but I'm coming up with some ways to make it happen. But I have my network of entrepreneurs, but I want to grow one of photographers because I have some plans for those photographers, right? So how do I make that happen without making myself crazy? So
I have a team, actually.
yeah, so even more important. So then it is exactly who you want to buy that book. That's who you market to, Ruth. Nobody else right now. They will find you. Like other people will see what you're doing. You know, like the academics, you know, in your world or whatever, people they'll see it. Like they're going to see it on LinkedIn or whatever. But you want to market to the people who you want to buy the book, who you really want to make the transformation happen for.
That's right. That's right.
Any other questions about that?
Yeah. So what I'm suggesting is that these groups meet with facilitators, and I have some people who've done appreciative inquiry who are very interested in doing that. So in a way, what I need is funding and interested, hosts and stuff. I mean, that's my deeper desire. I think I'd like to get the ideas out there too. But ultimately, what I'd like to see is, because there's a kind of urgency to this, I feel like I'd really like to figure out, okay, how do we get this to thought leaders? I mean, that's kind of the piece ultimately. And so it tends to be a little academic, because I want them to understand that these are kind of important concepts to that,
Yeah, and you and I are going to talk afterwards too, so we can dive
yeah,
more in depth on that one. But what I'm going to tell you is that, like, you have a book. I mean, my God, you can get in front of thought leaders right now.
right.
You're like, this should be part of your launch plan. Like, you should be on a circuit of like getting on as many. It should be. Don't say. I'm sorry, I'm shitting all over you, but
Sorry.
you can start like reaching out to podcasts that you want to be on and say, hey, I've got this book coming up. I have this like fire in my belly that this is going to happen, and I want to be that change maker, and I want to transform some stuff, and I want you to have me on your podcast so I can help your audience see this and help them. And you like, that's the thing, is now that you know who it is, now you can find the right podcasts for you,
Right.
like get on that. And so then that way you're going to be able to actually, leading up to the book, get that momentum going, right?
Right.
And then, of course, like doing direct reach outs to anybody that you can think of who you consider a thought leader in this space, and, getting on calls with them, speaking to their groups, all of that. And this is why I want you all to see this. It becomes easier when we niche. And that is a hard thing for people to do, because they feel like, oh, well, if I do that, then I'm leaving people out. Like you were just saying, Ruth, like, well, I have these, well, if I do that, then that's not true. It's just a story we're telling ourselves, because really the name of the game is getting out and getting the brand awareness, and then knowing that, trusting that there's going to be this is your target. There's going to be a secondary and tertiary layer, and I don't know what 4 is. Anyone know?
Quads, right?
Okay. Yeah. So it'll happen. It's just that you need to then to focus in. You focus in to go wide. So it's to narrow to go wide, but you have to start somewhere. Okay.
Right.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, no, it is.
Cool. Okay. You know what? I think Tina came next. Tina, what you got for us today?
Oh, thank you so much. First of all, I feel so aligned with all of you, because I'm Susan's perfect client, and my whole theme is unifying people and finding commonalities over differences, Ruth. So I know I wasn't quite sure why I was supposed to be here, but Spirit sent me and said, no, you're supposed to be here. So
Good.
it's totally, yeah. And I'm pretty much, and I just met with David, which was great. We got matched. So this organization has been so dynamic in such a short period of time. I'm really so pleased that I decided to do this. Anyway, yeah, no, really. I'm in a lot of networking, different kinds, woo-woos to regular, and this has been the best combination so far. So I'm a combination of basically what they're saying. So I had a coaching program called Unchaos Yourself, and I did a lot of one-on-ones as an intuitive, and I got completely burned out. So what I realized, I'm a group person. I come from fitness, speaking, all of that. So the book is at the publisher. I don't have a publisher date, but my issue with branding is exactly what we're talking about. Like I've done, like so many others, so many variations on my skill and my passion. This book is really the culmination of my career, and I'd like to get out and primarily be at conventions or retreats or workshops where I'm presenting. And if I get clients, they would be maybe 1 or 2 VIPs. I'm pretty much out of a lot of one-on-ones. And so it's this integration of Tina Anderson OC, Unchaos Yourself, which is also a podcast. Now I have a workbook. I'm ending the coaching program, and I am an idea person. They just don't stop coming in all day long. So for me, I understand I need to narrow it down. I'm struggling a little bit with the just focusing on, I'm an author and I want to be hired to speak, or I want to find collaborators. I mean, if you ask me what I really want, I want to collaborate with people. I want to present from my book, and I want to do intuitive work with it and I want to do some maybe book signings. Does that make sense? I know I can be all over the place, so I'm trying really hard to give you what I really want to do, which is the collaboration and live events and work with people using
Yeah,
using my workbook, which is inner experiential. So it's an
Okay.
experiential workbook.
So meaning of so if you were working with people with the workbook, is that how much, like, is that a group thing? Is that a DIY thing? What is that exactly?
Yeah, so it'd basically be saying, okay, everybody here, part of this program, you've got Tina's workbook, and she has already put in an angel message in the page. Spirit told her to put it in. You're going to open it up, and we're going to start from there. Did you open up to forgiveness? Did you open up to split energy? And then they're in groups. They have questions to answer, and then I can facilitate and pull people, or I can speak on whatever Spirit's telling me. That's my gift, really, is to hone in right in that event. So it's an interactive, somehow I'm working into someone's retreat, or maybe I'll create my own. Does that
Yeah,
make sense? So the
it
workbook
does.
has a lot, it has chapters on my story, client stories, and then questions.
Okay.
And yeah,
And
I don't want to be from beginning to end or do the whole workbook. I want to come in as Spirit sends me and give people hits based on on that intuitive nudge right away. And
so let
give
me
them,
ask you this. So what would bring you joy then? Like, is if that's the only thing you did, at all in your business, would be like showing up for these events where you're just there and you are the talent, if you
yeah,
will, and maybe doing some speaking and sell your book. Like that would be amazing for you.
that would be amazing. And then on the side, once I get that established, I'm going to find one or two groups to support, some charitable, whatever, disadvantaged. I really want to help kids. So, because most of the clients I see are dealing with layers of issues in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, I'd like to get to them a little earlier so I can
Yeah.
maybe help them. So that is the answer. Yes, that I'd like to show up, do my thing, woo, and leave.
Yeah.
Show up, do my thing, and leave, and not handhold the whole
Yeah.
time.
So you would be sort of you're basically a paid speaker. That's what
Yeah.
you want. You want to be paid to speak.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you done that?
I've done a lot of speaking. I have never been paid for it. I've only been paid as kind of doing intuitive work for something, but not really as a speaker. I wouldn't say that. I've done a lot, obviously, but no, to answer your question, I haven't.
Yeah, Suzanne's actually asking a very good question. Do you have an event to attract people in order to do that, like your own event? Have you done
I have
that?
done my own events, and I've been asked to speak at a lot of local networking groups. I've been holding back because I really want to have my book, and I don't have a published date yet, but I have done a lot of speaking from when I worked in PR and radio years and years ago.
Mhm.
And I haven't been pursuing it. It just comes kind of naturally.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I do my own events. I have one coming up. They're called angel parties or spirit gatherings. I've done a lot of my own events, and
Okay.
people do pay. So I should say this: I've done a lot of events. People pay to be at the event, and I'm facilitating.
Yeah,
So in
that's
a
perfect.
roundabout way, I have been paid to do an angel party or something like that, but not
So
like speaker.
is the piece that's missing it seems like you know how to do it, run an event, you're getting paid for it, you're charging for these events. You have the other part of your business where you're getting your revenue stream is from those one-on-ones, which you don't want to do any more of. You're like tapped out there. So then the next level for you is getting on other people's in their groups and being paid for that, and possibly maybe speaking on stage too, right?
Yeah, so like a corporate organization or something to come in and I even thought of HR if they're, kind of open to my stuff. Some of
Yeah,
the
well, it
people.
depends on the company, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's basically it. And maybe I'm just having a little imposter syndrome of putting myself in the speaker realm,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
maybe that's a little bit of some shadow work I haven't really addressed, because why haven't I gone straight out and said that yet? that could be part of it, a little bit, maybe.
So anytime we get ourselves more out there, there's stuff that comes up because it's not a comfort zone place, right? So it's like now, okay, wait, well, I can make excuses as to why I don't, like you just said earlier, something that stuck out to me is you said, I'm waiting for my book. And I was like, why? Because
Okay.
all this stuff will help you sell your book,
Okay,
right?
fair enough. Yeah, you're right.
Visibility.
Yeah, you're right. I've been asked by a couple, like, do you want to speak? Whenever, and I was like, well, I don't know, my book's coming out, so I don't know. And
Yes, I do.
yes, I do. Yes. Yeah. Just pick a date. Let spirit give you the right date, which is in the springtime anyway.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So, but why not have like a few events leading up to that of your own making? Or and when you're thinking about like who is it, because I do think the collaboration thing is really awesome for you. So I think, and again, we also don't want to make ourselves crazy. So how can we make it easy for us to do the speaker route and also collaborator route? So I wonder if you can think to yourself, who naturally, like what kinds of people would naturally be a good fit for you? Can you think of anybody right now? But type of business, not necessarily person if you don't have that.
Yeah, any of the self-development conferences or retreats where there's a section on figuring stuff out. You know, my whole key is helping people through chaos and confusion.
Okay, so that being said, I have an introduction for you. I don't know if she's got everything set or not, but my client, friend, fellow networker in SCN, Susan, is Laura DeFranco, and she's having a retreat in Sedona.
Mm.
So, and I know that she's bringing some pretty big name speakers there. There's that collab, like meeting those people and this sort of thing. So what I will do, I'm making a note for myself, I'm gonna do that right now, is to connect you. Okay.
Gosh, thank
So
you.
yes.
I
And you,
appreciate that so much. And I think that's probably what, just speaking about it for all of us helps us to find the answers. And I think with the branding is it, do I say, what are you when you get up? I'm going to get out of, I'm an intuitive, right? And I'm thinking, do I say I'm a speaker and a collaborator? Am
well,
I whatever? Or do that? I just struggle with that. There's too many things that I can say. And now, is it
I want to
that?
know, one thing I want to know is why do you feel like you need to get out of the intuitive idea?
Oh, I guess I don't need to get out of that. I start with that, and then people think of me for readings, basically. I
Ah,
could be, I guess, an intuitive speaker, author, presenter, or something like facilitator, or something like that.
well,
Because
the thing I want to say is this. Okay, so we can always explore figuring out what is a better fit word for you. But the better fit word has to do with, I'm gonna give you an example.
okay,
So, and this is when we talk about brand, we like, it's all about iteration, right? Like we start somewhere and we like put it out there, and then we get the feedback, and then we start like attracting people, and then we go, well, that's not exactly right. Like I like those people, but then what's the better thing? And then you go, oh, it's actually this. And then you start like, you really, part of the brand is like, let's start somewhere and let's start working on it and figuring out what's resonating, right? So for you, if you find that you're like, maybe if it's like oh, you think people are thinking it's too woo or something, or I don't know, like I would like to hear from you. Why does, besides the, oh, they're going to think I'm going to give them a reading or whatever, what kinds of people, let's start there. What kinds of people do you really love working with that you have? There's your current clients. What kinds of people are they?
yeah, there's two. The people who are just kind of waking up and seeking and knowing there's something different and open-minded, and the
Mhm.
person who is what I call the broken record syndrome, that can't find the next pivot out of it. That's my
Okay.
strategy.
Okay. Broken record. Okay.
Well, you guys know what a record is, right? I'm
Yeah,
just kidding. I was
I
joking
do.
about that. The younger people like, oh yeah, I've heard of the records.
Yeah. Like, what did they look like? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean by broken? Like put the needle on the record, it just keeps going to the same spot.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's so funny. So I guess what I would say is like, do those people that come to you, do they like, when they came to you, did they first think, oh, I'm, like you're going to give me a reading? Like what was it that attracted them?
Yeah, I'm going to do a spiritual reading, which people think of sometimes as a psychic. I don't call me that. And the key probably is that because I work with the angelic realm and I'm a licensed angel therapy practitioner, they know it's going to be loving. And I know that people come to me because they know it's going to be supportive and loving.
Mhm.
And yeah, a lot of people have been curious. Let's see, why do people usually it's one issue or something they need help with too, right? They're just they come in and I'm stuck here, or there's something they need help with. It's because there's something usually they're stuck with, or they're just curious, I would say.
Well, so I would say that you're gonna want to keep some aspect of how you do what you do as part of it, so that like you're solving a problem for someone who has this issue coming up, all of the broken record thing. It keeps happening and I can't get out of this, and I'm stuck. And someone and there's people that can solve that problem in different ways, right? There's probably all kinds of ways that they could go to a therapist, like a straight up, psychotherapist, or they could go to, a life coach or whatever. But your method and the thing that the mode of or the modality rather that you use is very specific and unique to you. So I don't want you losing that,
Okay.
right? Like your uniqueness is super unique.
Okay.
You got to stand out with that. And I would like lean into that.
Okay.
But maybe if you're, and maybe this is a little bit of a marketing research for you, asking people like, when you hear this word, what is it? How does it feel to you? What do you think is happening there? It's not an easy answer. Like I wish I could tell you exactly what you should call yourself, but I can't do that because I don't know everything else about you. But what I'll say is that my guidance to you would be doing just that, reaching out to the people that you love working with and asking them more specific questions about like, this is, how I work. How do you describe it to me? Because I've had people do that to me. And they said, well, like, you captured my essence or something like that, or I hit on this one thing recently, a brand expression expert, because it's not just photos for me, it's more. It's all about pulling out those, you know what I mean? So that was kind of a, whoa, hey, that makes some sense, right? Now it's not perfect yet because I think people are kind of getting it, but they might like not understand that has both aspects, you know what I mean? So it's still that's a work in progress, but at least if I put that out there, people are a little bit like intrigued. So I think that the same thing goes for you. You want people intrigued by what you're doing. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. It's very helpful. It's good
Yeah.
just to talk it out, to be able to just talk about it.
Yeah. And I would say too, when I introduce you to Laura, what you're going to want to do is also talk to her about just her community. She's got a whole slew of healers and healthcare practitioners and things like that might be good collaboration partners.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, Suzanne, do you have a question for me? I hope.
Well, I actually have two questions. I think one of my struggles with my brand is that it's super visible, right? So that's not the issue. Like followers, people, list, feel like I'm consistent with my posting. I speak my brand very well. Somebody meets me, I'm on brand. There's not inconsistency. So I have that down.
Mm-hmm.
But where I struggle is I feel like I'm constantly producing content, putting events out there. And now that I have a purpose, more so than just meeting coaching clients, like the purpose has gotten bigger. I feel like I need to redefine the brand a little bit. Maybe not Suzanne, but when I look at my community as a whole, does it need separate branding? Does it need its own, like it has its own logo, the community, but does it need its own morals and values and content pillars and separate posts? And then I just get overwhelmed and I don't think about it.
Interesting. All right. Your big vision. Share with everybody what the biggest vision is for this.
It's really to have 1 million entrepreneurs in a giant community with subgroups for different types of entrepreneurs, coaches, photographers, healers, massage therapists, like every different subcategory of entrepreneur to have its own subgroup within the community. And then, events, numerous events every month where they come together and the communities mix with each other.
And why did you have this vision?
Why did I want to do this?
Yes. Why did this come to you?
Because I felt it's something that I had been looking for and searching through Facebook groups and, looking for a community to be in.
Mhm.
I always found something missing to it. Like it might be great content, but the people weren't very collaborative. Or the people might be collaborative, but there was nobody I wanted to collaborate with or that made sense for me. Or one time a mastermind group that was a ridiculous amount of money that I thought, okay, I'm just going to pay to be in the room full of people that I'm going to learn and grow with. And it didn't happen. And so I thought, well, if I can't find it, that means it's not there because I'm a great detective. So what would it look like if I created it?
Mhm.
And that was big and scary. And I think once I started, it wasn't as scary. I was like, wow, I could actually do this. I could actually make this happen and have it be exponential and serve people who, like me, 15 years ago had no idea what they were doing. I knew business, but I didn't know how to come into the online space and brand and content and, funnels and SEO and assets. And I didn't know any of that. So
Yeah.
to
So
cut
this
that learning curve for people, I think
learning
is
curve.
important.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're getting somewhere. All right. So are you with Idea Lab as this grows? Do you see that you will continue to do the other work that you're doing, your coaching and things like that? That still stays there as part of your business?
Yeah, I think my lowest priced offer is gone now. Basically, it's, my last person or last 4 people are finishing at that price level in December.
Okay.
And I'm not going to re-offer that because it doesn't make sense. So, I have my mastermind groups and I have one-on-one clients. And I think as the community grows, my clients will come from the community, not out there in social media world. So it'll actually make my job easier to just
Yeah.
speak community, and everything else will happen from there.
So that's actually good news because as I'm thinking it through. Well, it's good news because here's the thing, like it's to me, it's sometimes hard. Like I don't feel like there's a hard line between stuff and when it comes to branding. What I think of is this, like I think of there's a personal brand, that's you. Here's your personal brand. Your personal brand is infused into your business. So I actually don't think Idea Lab has different values. You just told me your why.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like that's part of it. Now, the purpose of Idea Lab might be different, but I don't think the values are different. And I feel like the content that you produce in order to bring in the right people for you just gets put in the lab or in social media to bring people to the lab if that's how you're so the lab isn't it. Yes, it's its own thing, but it kind of serves a couple of different purposes. It serves as your funnel, and it serves as that transformational thing that you're trying to bring into the world. So it's that purpose too, for not just the people coming as members, but also the other people you're bringing in as the collaboration partners. It's transformational for them too,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I think I look at it as a way to add value to entrepreneurs with, so if I give them the gift of community and show them the way I always wanted to experience it,
Mhm,
and if they're like mind, then they're going to like it also.
mhm.
And that means, let me see, that becomes a value add to strangers rather than my PDF, my opt-in, my emails.
Yeah.
The community that I've created becomes the value driver and the relationship builder and the relationship nurturer. Oh, there's something from Suzanne's community again. Oh, that person is an expert in Suzanne's community. Let me go meet them. Like, it becomes an ongoing value add. And I've never thought about that before. So
Yes.
that's
And the other thing is so it's not its own business. It's not its own, like, because here's the reason why we want to think about maybe having a business brand. I have a business brand too. So,
Mhm.
and I'm going to be growing that, but what I consider it, I sort of see it like this. I'm the head of it, and so I'm the head of this thing, and I've got the personal brandography is under that. So I'm the personal brand, and that's under me. And the reason I say that, the importance around this is that when you build your personal brand and people get to know you and you become that thought leader, like you are a thought leader in this space, Suzanne. So so people recognize that, wow, she's a community builder. That's cool, right? You build this audience behind that, which is exactly what this community is doing. And then if you want to do later on something else, like some other big idea comes along, you've built that audience, in your case, the actual place where you house them all, you build that community and they will follow you. So that's the importance around the personal brand piece. Now, as a personal brand, I don't really see Idea Lab as a business. I see it as
Yeah.
part of you, right? It's under you as the brand. So then there's other things you can do. You can actually create businesses that are their own entity.
Oh, la 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 la.
Right. But that's not what you're doing. And this is my point. Is like, so
Not
if you
yet. Not yet.
yeah. So you can, and I know you have a little logo for it and everything, but you can have like, here's Suzanne's logo, and hey, Idea Lab is part of this set of brands.
Well, I
But
like
it's like a
like
product
that
brand.
the the overarching, LLC, so to speak, right, is me.
Mhm,
And the Idea Labs, the community driving piece of
mhm.
that. Tailored coaching is what I do with my clients.
Yep. Think about it like this, because SA is really good about explaining this. But what I learned from SA a couple of years back was that you have several things that can be branded. All right. So you have your personal brand, you have your product. Well, you have your business, right? That's a common one. But you also have a product brand. And
Mm.
for you, Idea Lab is a product brand for you. Do you need to have separate? I don't think you need to have some of that stuff separate, like the values. No, I don't think of like a product necessarily needs to have its own values. They derive from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And does that help? I mean, like, do you feel like
Yeah, it
that
feels
perspective?
like I don't have to have separate content pillars, for social media and blog and video content and all that, because whatever content Suzanne is talking about, that's going to drive, people to the community. The call to action is either meet me, come to this event, or come to the community. That's always, it's like I've moved away from the call to action of get on my list, download my PDF,
Yes.
to join
Yes.
me here, join me there.
Yes. And what's
Okay.
really cool, and I just want to like congratulate you for this, because I keep hearing that community is like the next wave, right? Like it's like you're on the front end of that. You're a trailblazer. You're trailblazing right now, and I love it. It's
Well,
awesome.
that's kind of cool.
Mhm.
And I will say, I've been in this position before with different ideas over the last 20 years, but I never acted on them quick enough
Yeah.
to be on the wave.
Mhm.
And this, when I decided to do this, like to quit screwing around with Facebook and trying to have a group, to
Mhm.
just do it my way, I acted immediately,
So good.
immediately,
So
without
good.
knowing what I was doing.
And Tina's like, yeah, that was your spirit talking, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, ooh, so good. I feel the same way with the show, which I'm not telling too many people about yet because it's not completely developed, but
Mm.
same exact thing. I feel like that's a new kind of a new way of looking at things. And I decided I'm gonna jump on that because it fills all of the like buckets. I don't know. Again, metaphors, not really doing really well on that today.
And it's also easier for me not to get distracted by other things
Yes.
because everything's coming back to that mission, and that's my hope. You know, entrepreneurs we tend to be easily distracted with things.
Mhm.
And if we really grab on to an idea and really commit to it,
Yeah.
it becomes harder to be distracted. So I like that aspect of it. It's made it easier for me to say no to other people. He just called me this afternoon and offered me a TV show on this like internet TV station that's local to here.
Mhm.
And 5 years ago, I would have been like, "Ooh, TV show, let me do
Yeah.
that." No, I hate the
Yeah.
way they market. I hate the way they advertise. They sell their episodes to their guests, which that's again, like, I don't believe in that. And I was able to articulate that to the person who called me. And I said, "Yeah, it's great. It's great. I understand what they're doing. I don't agree with their marketing or their distribution or their content flywheel." And she was like, "What? What? What?" And I said, "Well, how they distribute the content and break it up. They don't do that. They don't, they don't transcribe. They don't break up content. They don't do micro content." And da, 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 da. And she was just like speechless. She was literally speechless.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought, wow, that would not have been me 5 years ago.
Mhm. And
And
here's
it's
what I
not
want
a difference in knowledge.
I want to
Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say I want to really focus on that for a second because I think that the reason that you feel that way and you were able to do that is because you are so you have such a deep understanding of your brand that it makes it easy for you to recognize it. And just for all of your benefit, that's powerful when you have that is just like what Suzanne said is like all of those things that come across your desk on a daily basis because I know it happens. I see them. I see that in my email every day. It's like when you've got it, the tactics, you understand tactics aren't the thing. It's kind of like that when you always hear people say, it's not what you're doing, it's who you're being. Well, you have to understand who you're being, and that's what your brand does. And you understand what your brand is, that's how you're going to be. That's when you just say, oh, okay, well, this guy is marketing this thing like he's saying, I can grow your email list by this, or this person says that. Well, they're all great tactics. Nothing wrong with those, but what is going to work for you personally, customized specifically to you? And then that's how when you, Suzanne, when you say somebody calls you about that, you're like, nope, doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're not even tempted.
Not even tempted.
Nope.
Except to say, if you'd like to do it and do it that way, I'd be happy to schedule an appointment with you and teach you or coach you through that process.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I actually had somebody ask me, well, I got just a little like a side thing here. I had someone reach out to me about, well, someone sent me a speaking opportunity and it's in Madrid and it's in April. And I went, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll throw my hat in the ring. Well, I did, but they like literally accepted me without any like Like there was no process. So then I was like, that's weird. I thought there would be a process and I could ask some questions. So I wrote my questions back. I was like, well, what's the audience for this? And how big is it? And and she writes back and she goes, 137 plus people. And I was thinking, oh, they probably have 137 people registered. That was a weird, like not is very specific number.
Mhm.
And, you know, but they're from 60 countries. And I was like, that doesn't help me. Like, first of all, I can't travel to Madrid to speak in front of 137 people. That doesn't make any sense. And I don't
Oh,
even
not unless it's on Zoom. I'm not traveling to Madrid to do that.
It's on Zoom, sure. But
Yeah.
you want me to get on a plane and come there? I'm like, I don't think so. And so I felt fine with that. I was like, would it be cool to go to Madrid? Sure, but no,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense because I know my brand, I know who I'm speaking to and all the things. So with all of that, any final questions, comments, ahas, anything that you guys want to share?
Well, thank you. I want to say thank you. And I find that oftentimes like I said, it's just talking your stuff out where you get your answers. And even I'm sure, Melissa, for you as a facilitator, or Suzanne, you get your own answers when you're talking things out for other people and you get hits. And so I really appreciate that very much. And I'm really grateful to have jumped into this. And so Suzanne, thank you for however you found me on LinkedIn, however Spirit connected us in the quantum.
I have no idea, but you know what? I'm glad you ended up here with these amazing people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the combination, Suzanne. I love how generous and how authentic everybody so far has been. So I'm just saying I'm great. I'm really grateful.
Oh, good. I'm
If
so
I can
glad.
help. If anybody, if ever it comes up and you're like, I'm just really stuck and you want a quick 20-minute, I work fast and the angels come through and go guides quickly. And usually I can give a good quick pivot and move along. So I'm happy to offer that as well, because
Oh, that's amazing.
that's my jam is clarities. And so I'm happy. I
So
want to
good.
give back. I want to
Tina,
be
I know you have that. I know you have that in your, in your thing there. But can you put it in the chat?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. I'll put my information in here.
Uh,
Someone just asked me about that. Like, can you add your website to your tag thing? So and I said, okay, I just left
Yeah.
it there. Yes.
And then
I will.
Suzanne put for everybody the link to your community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ruth put her her website, so we got that. And then Susan, what you got for us? Why don't you drop something in there?
There we go.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And definitely save the chat when everybody's got their stuff in there. Take that with you when you go.
I don't know. Just put a regular thing
Got
here.
something? Yeah. Very
Thank
good.
you, ladies.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you showing up live. That's why I said to people, if you didn't show up live, you don't get to have your specific question answered. So this is amazing.
This
And
was fantastic, Melissa. Thank you.
oh, you are
Smile for a picture.
oh yeah, let's do that. Oh, will you take it?
Wait, Rockstar? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
taking it.
A rock star.
Awesome. Thank
Thank you guys so much. And Ruth
Thank
Ruth,
you.
Ruth is gonna
Bye.
stay on with me. So we'll say goodbye to you guys.
See you later.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye guys.
Bye.